Welcome back to Star or Shovelware, my name's Luke, and today on the channel I'm bringing you a gameplay overview for The Last Friend on the Nintendo Switch, a tower defense cum brawler which sees you travel in a post-apocalyptic wasteland in your RV, rescuing doggos as you go, and defending against waves of enemies using tactically placed turrets and your big burly man fists. The premise of the game though is somewhat similar to the OG Plants vs Zombies games, so dogs vs bandits in essence, but there's plenty of originality with this one too. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all my latest content, and let's take a look. So the story in The Last Friend concerns this big ginger beardy chap known as Alpha and his best bud T1, the talking chihuahua, as the pair journey through a post-apocalyptic wasteland populated by all manner of unsavoury characters. After rescuing T1 and several other dogs from the clutches of wasteland bandits, Alpha, who has a bit of a soft spot for man's best friend, decides to take it upon himself to investigate these dog nappings further, and his quest takes him through fire and ice as he attempts to track down the person responsible for giving the order. Now the story is delivered predominantly via dialogue boxes when inside levels, and some awesome looking comic book style cutscenes, and it contains plenty of zany characters which prove to be highly entertaining. In fact, the story itself appears to be packed full of light-hearted humour, and throughout the couple of hours I spent playing, I really enjoyed the game's narrative. So as I said in the intro, gameplay in The Last Friend combines classic tower defense elements with beat 'em up mechanics, and in a similar manner to Plants vs Zombies, the play area is divided into lanes onto which your turrets can be built, and down which various enemies proceed in the quest to destroy your shiny recreational vehicle. In the beginning you only have 3 lanes to worry about defending, which gives you some time to get used to the general building and combat mechanics, but further into the game this is expanded to 5 lanes, and things become a lot more frantic as you hop back and forth between them trying to keep enemies at bay. Now, throughout your time travelling the wasteland you'll encounter a number of different level types, but starting with the most common you'll have the standard defence levels requiring you to defend your RV from waves of enemies. At the start of these levels you'll be given a budget of scraps with which to build your first turrets, and then as you defeat enemies you'll obtain more scrap, allowing you to build more turrets as well as upgrade existing ones. Now if you played any kind of tower defense game, this one follows a similar schematic, and you have a mixture of offensive, defensive and utility turrets, which include damage dealers, ones which slow enemies' movement down, and others which will passively mine scrap for you. And as you play through the game and rescue new dogs, more turret types will become available, each of which can be upgraded by spending rare dog biscuits. Now to supplement your turret's defences you also have a plethora of melee skills with which to fight enemies head on, and these include a basic combo attack and several different special attacks which consume stamina, such as a fierce uppercut and an AoE stomp. While engaging in melee combat though, you also need to keep an eye on your health meter to ensure you don't get smashed up, but as you progress your stats will improve, and you'll also gain skill dogs which grant additional passive abilities, which include things like a damage shield, the ability to heal up your own turrets, and a massive damage boost whilst on low life, and again the effects of these dogs can be upgraded using the aforementioned bones. Now while I'm not usually a fan of tower defense games, the addition of the beat 'em up mechanics in The Last Friend made this one a lot of fun, as you're not just standing around waiting for your turrets to take enemies out, and things get pretty hectic once you get to those 5 lane lineups. The combat itself is solid, albeit a little funky sometimes on the old hitboxes, but the general difficulty of the game is relatively tame, and you shouldn't have many issues with progression once you get a few turret upgrades under your belt. Now in addition to the defence levels you also have boss battles where you go one-on-one with one of the Wasteland Bandits ringleaders, and these fights had some enjoyable mechanics requiring to learn boss movesets and then avoid their attacks, but again difficulty wise these are relatively easy fights. throughout my time playing I also had levels where I had to destroy debris blocking the road to allow the RV to continue forward, a rescue mission to stop little T1 being dog-napped, and a level where I had to progress across the screen using the water dog to clear fires as I went, and overall I found there to be some really good variety to the missions which did a good job of keeping things from getting too stale. Now of course the thing about tower defense games is that once you've found a solid turret setup, usually you can breeze through most levels without a hitch, and I kind of started to experience this for myself by the end of the game's third area. The enemy variety does manage to keep things interesting, adding new mechanics for you to contend with, but there are several which are reskinned versions of previous enemies, and with a powerful enough turret combination I didn't really struggle much at all obtaining 3 stars on most of the missions, and these stars provide further passive boosts to both your character and turrets. Overall though, I had a fun time playing The Last Friend. It has a solid concept which I found much more engaging than your standard tower defense games, and while I do feel like it still has some of the same repetitive nature of these games, the variety of levels really helped to break the mould with this one. It has an enjoyable storyline, plenty of cute doggos to rescue, and some added trophies and stickers to unlock just to give you a little extra reason to keep playing after the credits roll. So visually, I really love the stylised artwork of the game. It has a low poly aesthetic to it, though with plenty of detail into the characters and environments, and I really enjoyed the game's comic strips, whose artwork was also really well done. On the audio side, the game sounds great. We get some nice sound effects for the turrets, some meaty thuds for the fisticuffs, and I really like the game's high tempo soundtrack, which I found was a perfect match for the high tempo gameplay. All round good stuff though. So throughout my time playing I don't believe that I encountered any performance issues or frame rate issues, even in the more visually demanding 5-lane levels. When it comes to issues, not many to report either. I found the changing level types resulted in the odd difficulty spike here and there until you adjusted to the format of them, and the only real issue that I encountered was on one occasion when I accidentally stood where a dog cage spawned, which resulted in me getting stuck inside it and having to replay the level, but in all nothing really major on the issue front. Gameplay is overall very solid stuff. I enjoyed its fast-paced nature and the way it challenges the player to juggle their attention between turret building and the beat-em-up mechanics, and I'd say if you're looking for a game to burn a few hours on, or alternatively to play over several short sessions, then The Last Friend is a game that you can easily dip in and out of and not worry about forgetting where you are or how the game works. All round a really fun game and highly recommended. And so that about does it for this gameplay overview of The Last Friend on the Nintendo Switch. Make sure to hit that like button if it helped you out, let me know your thoughts and opinions on the game in the comments section below, and if you watch my content regularly but are not yet subscribed, then please consider doing so. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.